Hi, Krisserin.
Hi, Kelton.
How you doing?
Hi, Kelton.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm Krisserin Canary.
And I'm Kelton Wright.
Follow our quest to publish our first novels
From first drafts to query letters
through inevitable rejection
and hopefully eventual success.
from California
To Colorado, this is Pen Pals.
I feel similarly this morning. I feel like my image belies how tenderly fucked I feel today.
You look beautiful. What's wrong?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's lying. I didn't
Oh.
sleep at all last night. We had another bad toddler night, and I woke up feeling so nauseated and with like a drilling headache this morning. And I was like, all right, what does a girl need to do to get out of this funk? So I took a long shower. I did a kooky meditation. I lit some Palo Santo. I spent at least 5 minutes this morning looking around for my bagel. I was like, I know I only ate half the bagel. Where did I put the rest of the bagel? Only to realize I had eaten it and I had already put the plate in the dishwasher. I was like, what is wrong with me today? That's where I am.
Yeah, well, you look beautiful. I couldn't tell there was anything wrong or you didn't get sleep. I'm sorry about that. I read your subscriber only Substack that comes out on Wednesdays, and you talk so lovingly about woods. And, we have kids, they change our lives for the better, mostly. But
Yeah.
these in between times when they are stealing sleep and require a bit extra care can be really hard.
Yeah, I'm feeling quite drained. How are you? You look beautiful.
Thanks. See, similarly, when I am feeling not at my best, clothing and makeup is my armor to give me
Mhm.
something to make me feel good as I go out into the world. And so I spent a little extra time doing my makeup this morning, knowing that I'm going to be seeing people anyway and talking to you. So that's my meditation, is
Yeah.
putting on makeup while watching Gilmore Girls. And this week is the first week, even though Boyan has been back from traveling, this is the first week that he's actually taking the kids to school in the morning as he is supposed to be doing. So I actually got quite a bit of sleep last night. I just haven't been writing as much as I wanted to. I think that there's a lot of stuff that's taking up my mental load at work and with the kids, with school. It's been kind of mentally exhausting in that respect. And then I am still just trying to feel my way around in the dark on this novel as I'm trying to finish the second book. And so that's been a bit of a trial. And all of it just leaves me feeling like I don't know what I'm doing, which I hate. I hate it.
Yeah. Is this such an uplifting episode for our listeners? Are they feeling jazzed about writing yet?
I feel like we're in the doldrums. You ever read The Phantom Tollbooth or see the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like we're in the
Yeah.
doldrums.
I did accomplish my goals from last week.
What were our goals for last week?
Your goal was to figure out what hell your characters need to go through to get to the conclusion. It sounds like you were just in that hell yourself. Have you figured out any turning points for these characters?
I sat down and I thought to myself, what is each of these characters' worst fears? What would be the absolute worst thing that could happen for them? And so I did think about that, and I wrote a decent amount, maybe like 4,000 words since the last time we chatted.
That's great.
But it's garbage. It's just like, it's spaghetti draft writing. It's not anything super great. And then I realized, which is a horrible thing to admit, a couple of things. I realized a couple of things. One, I realized that I don't have a bad guy. I don't have an enemy in this book the way that I had in the first book. So in the first book,
Interesting.
yeah, in the first book, the father, the CEO of this company, is the bad guy.
Mhm.
Second book, it's much more global in scale, and he's not the baddest of the bad guys,
Mhm.
There is a power more powerful than him that is threatening him. I just haven't figured out how to define that because I don't know how I'm supposed to be like, it's all the governments of every country in the world that wants this technology. But then the second realization that I had, which is just my insecurity talking, is that I've created a story that requires the ability to write conflict at a greater scale than I've ever done before. And it's something that I admire the heck out
Yeah.
of fantasy writers, speculative writers, that all of those that came before me. And I'm just like, do I have it? Can I do this? Can I pull this off? I don't know. So that's how I've been feeling, but I've just been kind of, like I said, feeling my way around in the dark while still writing. But I think I got up, 2 of the 4 days this week and wrote. It's hard when I don't know what I'm going to wake up to write. Like I kind of need to know what I'm going to be
Yeah.
doing the next morning to get myself out of bed. And I've just been prioritizing sleep a little bit because I've equally been pretty tired.
Yeah. I just had like a vision of a potential enemy in your book where it was like a Dolores Umbridge type character, but it's just like a very charismatic senator that everybody likes and is actually super nefarious. You can find it within the many government structures. There are so many horrible people.
I know, but it's not one person, right? It's like multiple
Yeah.
people. And is it the investors of the company? Dolores Umbridge was one bad actor, but she wasn't the biggest enemy. She was just an arm
Right.
of Voldemort and all of, I can't remember Harry Potter
Mhm.
right now, but you know what I'm talking about. So
I
that's
do, of
it.
course.
It's the ultimate evil that I need to define without it feeling hokey. Because I want to be like,
Yeah, it's hard.
it's the governments of all the world. Okay, Krisserin.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see how it pans out. I mean, that is hard. Are you reading any books that kind of do that to help inspire you? Like you could read some spy thrillers and really get some bad actors.
No, I'm not. I'm not reading at
Maybe that's
all. I feel like I'm just in a weird mental space. I did stay up on Friday night until 4:15 watching the new season of The Diplomat with Carrie Russell and Rufus
Mm.
Sewell. And the man who, I don't know if you've ever seen Poldark, but the man who is Poldark, I forget his name. I want to say it's like Anthony Quinn or something. He's in this season and he's so dreamy. And she is the ambassador to the United States in England. And she's in direct line with the president. And it's just crazy. Like that show is so intriguing and well written. My husband hates it, but I love it. And so that helped a little bit. But again, I feel like my brain is just fried. I don't know how. And I'm
Yeah.
getting an okay amount of sleep, except for when I do choose to get up and write. But I don't know how you do it. How are you doing with your writing?
Well, my goals writing. My goals for last week were to synthesize the feedback around the memoir proposal and kind of create a plan. So I created a document just of the feedback and of the things I know I want to change and organized them by category and then turned them into tasks, essentially. And the woman that I'm consulting with on the memoir proposal was like, all of this is really good. It's just too short. And so she was like, a typical memoir proposal for this type of memoir is 40 to 45 pages. And mine is 24 right now. And so she was just like, your bio is 2 paragraphs. It should be an entire page. It was like all these things that was just like have to be so much longer and so much more detailed. And all of the marketing stuff has to like amplify by essentially 50 to 60%. One major area that I have to focus on for the memoir is actually outlining every chapter that's going to be in it, which is what she recommended. And I was like, that's a little bit like pre-writing the book. And she was like, yeah, that's the good part is that once someone says yes, you can just act on it. Yeah. And she was like, and obviously, like once someone says yes, things can change. So don't feel like you're like, I really don't want to be beholden to this because you won't necessarily be. But I'm really, really grateful now that I changed the plan to have November and December be dedicated to working on the proposal. because to come up with what each of the individual chapters is, I will need that time. In terms of writing, I had given myself 1 week off the newsletter because I was like, I'm cooked. I need it. We've been sick and tired and blah, blah, blah. And I came back with a banger. And that was really, really creatively satisfying because I didn't really know how I was going to weave together going through the previous owner's books and my cat peeing all over the house. But it came together. I
Sure
made
did.
people cry. I know. And I was just like, yes, she's still got it. And I have, recently been thinking more and more about the novel while I'm going to bed. Seasonally, that's been creeping back in my brain. And like a fool, I think we have talked about this before, but I tell Woods a continuing fairy tale as he's falling asleep, one that I'm like making up. And I'm starting to have little plot points come together, in the dark where I'm like, oh, I got to write that down when he falls asleep. And I'm like, you are not working on this project, okay? Stop it. Stop like leaning into this little fairy tale that you have no room for. So of course I did start a note in my phone so I could write down little ideas that came together for that. But writing itself has been in the background and I've really needed it to be. I've really needed a little bit of recovery and slow down. For me, tonight will be the second to last session of the Rewilding Autumn Practice. And so that will end on November 6th. And then that really opens up some time for me for 3 straight months. I'm looking forward to that. God, I want it to be winter, Krisserin. I want it to be winter so bad.
It's interesting considering where you live because it is a time that you pull within, right? It's going to snow. You guys are going to be huddled in the cabin for warmth, not really going out as much. Whereas in LA, I'm like, what does that mean? Winter.
Yeah. I mean, for the listeners that don't know, I lived in LA for 8 years before moving to Colorado again for the second time. And I moving to Colorado, especially at this altitude where the seasons are so present, has been so therapeutic for my brain. Like time felt surreal in LA. Like it just never moved. I didn't age. There was no pressure, no deadline. For me, that was how I reacted to the lack of seasons. And here, I just work within them so much better. It is so much better for my brain to be in like a seasonal transition place. But right now it's been, global warming. It's been too hot. It's just been too hot. I mean, for us, that means it's been 57 degrees every day. But like when you go outside, that feels like 75 because of the altitude. And we normally have our huge snowstorm already. And I'm like, where is it? Where is the snow? Where is the cold? I'm ready to get locked inside. Oh, frustrated.
See, for me, it's the opposite because I work in e-commerce. Speeding toward the end of the year and then starting in Q1 is my busiest time of the year for work. And so we have, it's going to be November on Saturday. And then it's like a whole month of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, because there's no Black Friday, Cyber Monday anymore. It is the entire month of November going into December now. And then we have a launch happening in December, a promotion in January, and a whole year of planning that we're doing right now, potentially a trip to New York for work. My kids are going to have parent-teacher conferences, and then they're off of school for a week for Thanksgiving. I cook for Thanksgiving, and then it has like the presents. And I don't know about your home, but in my home, I am Santa Claus. I pick the tree, decorate the house, buy all the presents, wrap all the presents. It is exhausting. So I fucking hate Christmas.
Oh, no.
I mean, I love gift giving. It is one of my love languages. I enjoy giving gifts and picking gifts. And I would say that over the almost 20 years I've been married to my husband, it's gotten better. But it pisses me off every year. I'm not looking forward to the winter because I won't be able to come up for breath until probably May.
I can like already hear the panic in your voice. Like,
I'm not. And by the way, I had like it in my head that I was going to apply for an MFA program in February, which I kind of still want to do, but I'm also like, well, if I'm going out on submission for a book in January, which by the way, my whole December, I'm supposed to be reading my second book to my agent and getting that ready to go on submission. So I feel an immense amount of pressure and stress coming down the back. Whereas we've talked about this in life, in world, in nature, winter is about it's the end of the
Rest.
cycle. It's about rest. It's about death. It's about regeneration. And I don't get to do that.
ugh, ugh.
Come back to LA, Kelton. It's great.
I am a little Christmas elf. I love decorating. I already am working on the invitation to have some friends over to decorate cookies. Like, I love Christmas so much. And similar to you, I am Santa. Ben is very good at getting gifts for me, but this is the first Christmas that Woods is really going to be online. And so I don't know if Ben is thinking about that at all. But the grandparents are already like, Kelton, what should we get Woods?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you just fucking Google gifts for a 2-year-old? Just kidding. I mean, I appreciate that they want to know what I want him to have because, it's like we already get so many hand-me-downs. It's like we just don't need a lot of stuff.
That's the thing.
So I'm like,
We don't need anything.
yeah, I'm like, we don't need anything. Like, I'm like, just pick like a couple books. Pick a couple books. That's what I say every time.
Yeah.
But, I have my qualms about managing everything, and like being the magic maker, but I like the magic so much that I'm like, I will do it.
After 10 years, I'll tell you.
I'm sure it does.
I love
And, like,
it too.
especially,
I love Christmas. I
you
love the
know-
lights. I love the flavors. we do cookies every year, but I don't want to be a Grinch
thankfully
about
for
it.
me, my client work is going to change a little in December. I mean, being freelance, one of the problems is that I'm going to make less money in like the most expensive month of the year just because they don't want to work as much. And I know that in advance, so I plan for that. But so one of my clients will be essentially like dead silent for the last 3 weeks of December. And then my other client has a huge launch January 1st. And so, it's like I have some wiggle room there that I'm a freelancer and I can just be like, I'm not working those days. Sorry. But I get a breath. I get less money, but I get a breath.
It's also your 40th birthday.
It is going to be my 40th birthday, which I'm dreading. Not because of turning 40. I'm really looking forward to being 40. I think it's a beautiful number.
Mhm.
Like, genuinely, I think it is such a beautiful number. So you care about angel numbers. For me, like the transition from 39
Yeah.
to 40,
Yeah.
it's just like breathy and beautiful. But my birthday is December 31st, which was amazing when I was young and is a burden now because everything is expensive. You can't afford hotels. Like, everybody's going to these like parties that I don't want to go to. So I'm planning to just have like a dinner party sometime in January with some girlfriends and, just call it good and then like celebrate being 40 the whole year.
Yeah.
That is my plan. I struggle with birthdays because I really desperately want to feel special on my birthday.
Same.
And it's very, very, it's very hard to feel as special as I want to. Ben is pretty good, but he's up against the realities of scheduling things on that day. It's like, if I wanted to go on a sleigh ride or something that day, Ben would have had to book it last year. And that's not fair to anybody. So Ben usually turns to the kitchen. Ben has made me funnel cake and homemade chicken tenders and like all kinds of like strange treats over the years as to express his love, and that's really sweet. But yeah, so for my birthday, just more 5-star reviews.
Elton texted me. She's like, "Oh my God, we have 25-star reviews on Apple Podcasts." She was very happy about that. So definitely,
Yeah.
that's one way.
Thanks, all 22 of you.
We have 21 on Spotify too. So 40,
Oh, amazing.
40,
Okay,
30
it's
people.
distributed.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry to be such a grump this week. I feel really bad. It's been hard. And also I've been dealing with stuff with my youngest daughter at school. And so
Ugh.
yeah, I try to tell myself at the end of the day, it's all going to come out in the wash. It's been rough being a writer and being a parent, and I didn't want to scare Olivia too much, but I do think that, if I was thinking about writing an essay because we talked about it last week, and I thought, well, this is a bummer of a topic, but I do think that if I were to go back in time and talk to myself before I had kids, and I'm not even talking about my writing career, but just about all the things that I wanted to do, I would tell myself, listen, things are going to change. You are not going to be able to do everything that you thought you could do, but it's going to be great. Either way, it's going to be great. But you are going to have to take a beat on some things, and some things are going to be different than what you thought they were going to be, Because I feel like women have come around to understanding we can't have it all because it's just not the way that our capitalist society is built. There's no community built in for women who want to have children, etc. Yeah. But I think would have taken a bit of the sting away from beating myself up about not being able to do the things that I wanted to do.
I haven't had a child long enough to have anything to say to myself prior to. I think often about this reel or TikTok that I saw. There's that whole trend where people are like, these are the things no one tells you about motherhood. And it's like things you absolutely heard before.
Mhm.
One reel I saw was like, no one tells you before you're a parent how much you're going to have to get up from where you're sitting.
Oh, yeah.
And that for me, I think about that all the time because that is something that truly no one articulated fully, that every time you sit down, you have to get back up every time, immediately.
It's true.
There is so much getting back up.
Yeah. And it's not
And
for things that are important. It's like, mommy, come here. I want to show you something. Look at my drawing. Well, I guess that's important for her, but I'm like,
and it's hard,
I just sat down.
Obviously wish, I know. I wish I had a reason to be more disciplined and focused before having children. I had a lot of time on my hands, but because there was so much time, it was very hard for me to use it wisely. And now I have so many constraints and so much motivation that I get way more done now having a kid than I did before. And the village part of it is so, oh, I cannot emphasize enough, if you are thinking about having children, how much you need to be friends with your neighbors. More neighbors than you ever imagined. You need to be exchanging numbers immediately. You need to be sending cookies around the block. You need to start a recipe club, a podcast club, a book club. You need to know so many people so that those people can show up for you, and obviously so you can show up for them. That has been one of the most magical parts about living in the town that I do, is that because it is so small and because it is difficult to live here for, I think, what most people in the world would consider difficult to live here, we rely on each other a lot, and that has meant that we can call in the village for certain things. I should be calling in that village more. It's tough when the child is in such a mom-only phase. Loves mom. Oh my God, does he love mom?
That's a phase.
I know, I'm like, when is this one over? I love it, but it's difficult to hand over a child when they're crying.
Mm-hmm.
But, I feel like I'm a better writer since having him, and definitely a better worker. I am driven.
Saw a graph on Facebook, which who knows if it's real or not these days, but it was like a chart of authors in their most productive years, and men were like already so much more productive than women. I wonder why. But it was 46 was the age where people published the most amount of books and got their most work done. So I do think as you get older, you have energy. If your kids are a little bit older, you have resources, you just have figured out how to be driven. You're also inching toward death. So there's that. It's like, why do you write like you're running
Yes.
out of time?
The
Feeling?
inching.
But yeah, this has been a really uplifting conversation, Kelton. I'm so glad. Kelton was like, "What are we
Bunch of
talking about
listeners.
tomorrow?" And like,
I did.
"Mm."
I had wanted to ask you about your reading life right now, and
Mm.
so you like earlier you kind of spoiled it that you're not reading
Yeah.
because I I have been struggling to read lately, finding the time to read, and it's not that I don't have that time; it's using that time for reading. I have wanted to use that time for work every time. And what has helped me a little bit is just having guests on the podcast because I'm like, well, I got to read that book.
Mhm.
And that has been really rewarding. But also, I don't have like a long, outside of our guests, I don't have a long like books list that I'm looking forward to. And I'm really missing. I haven't felt that like, oh, I can't wait to read that feeling in like a year. And is there anything? I know you were so absorbed in the Robin Hobb world for so long that it's like, is there anything that you're like, I want to read that?
I am waiting for the second book in the Becky Chambers sci-fi space opera series. It's on hold for like ever. And so I'm waiting for that book to come through. Literally, my Kindle has been sitting dead in my drawer. I have not picked it up. And for me, I think it's more about time and the fact that I just don't have a long list of books that I'm looking forward to. But I kind of need to go to bed between like right when my kids go to bed in order for me to get enough sleep so I can get up in the morning and write. And so I just haven't really had time. I'm literally dropping my kids off at school, working, picking my kids up from school, ferreting them to their after school activities, coming home, making them dinner, making sure they don't stink, putting them to bed and going to bed. And so the only time I have for myself is in the morning when I'm writing and some exercise and movement a couple times a week, but that's really it. And so I just haven't had time to read. I'm still reading Lake Song. The nice thing
Yeah.
about it is it's a novel and story, so I can read a chapter, and then put it down and go to bed because they're not super long stories.
Yeah.
It's not a long book, but I'm kind of making my way slowly through that. I was reading another book that I just returned to the library because I got bored halfway through, you know? So it's been
I need
I'm
I need our
uninspired.
listeners
Help me.
I need our listeners to go listen to Olivia's podcast, Bad on Paper, and hear what it sounds like to not have kids.
Yeah, please. I'm getting depressed just listening to us. I'm so sorry.
I'm like, oh, listen, I'm really excited for the months to come in regards to the work that I'm doing, but just today as a one entity, one moment in time, I'm tired, and I also just haven't. You are very good at working quietly in the background toward your dreams, and I am very good at working publicly, throwing my work at people. And when I'm throwing my work at people and not receiving the amount of validation that I need for fuel, I start to get a little bratty about it. I start to just be like, well, this isn't good enough. Why am I even doing this? What is the point of this practice? I was talking with Anne Helen Peterson the other day, who just moved her Substack over from Substack to Patreon for myriad reasons. And I told her in that conversation, I was like, well, I'm a much smaller writer than her. And Substack is probably the right place for me to be right now. as I'm like moving toward querying and I want like a steady audience. But I just was like, what am I doing with Shangri Logs? Like, what am I doing with this project? It's been closing in on 4.5 years of me writing all these free essays. I sent out an email to free subscribers this past week, encouraging them to upgrade if they liked it. And a few people did upgrade, but like 30 people unsubscribed from the newsletter in general. And I was like, oh my God, like, what a way to make me feel terrible.
Gosh.
But I just looking at that project, with any kind of work, like sometimes you have to step back for a moment and be like, what are we doing here? Is this making me happy? Is this doing what it needs to do? Does my energy need to go somewhere else? If I tried something entirely new, would it restructure my whole life? Listening to you describe your days, part of me is like, you should go freelance, girl. But I understand why you don't.
Mhm.
It's like being freelance offers me a lot of freedom, but a lot of risk. And I don't know. I feel like I'm at just like a true end of October, early November vibe where you're starting to get that kind of end of year cumulative curiosity where you're like, where are we at? Where am I at as a person? How are things looking?
As you were describing the week off that you had from the newsletter, I started to think about that for you as well, because you came back with a spark of creativity that I think you described as a banger.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to Olivia last week, she did talk about how, first of all, she was like, I don't know how you do it. I also don't know how you do it. I think that the way that you put yourself out there every week is really remarkable. And yes, I'm good at writing in my dark cave and quietly chipping away at my work, but it takes a lot of courage to do what you do, and a lot of effort and a lot of stamina. And you have been doing it for 4.5 years, and maybe considering the fact that taking a little bit of time in between essays made the work better, it could be time for you to consider, is this still serving you the way that you have it set up? I think that it feels probably a feeling of like, oh, well, I have these subscribers that are paying for this. And so like, what is the agreement that I've made with them? I can understand that pressure too. But as you go into your 40th year, it might be worthwhile to think about the things that serve you and the things to leave behind.
I am also leaving open sort of this idea for myself that when I query in January, it will be successful and I will have more work, and that will drive the change. I do kind of need something to help me have a reason to restructure rather than general ennui or malaise, like whatever it is. Like, I do need a driving force to make it give me a reason. So I'm very hopeful that the query will be successful and someone will be like, you have to write this book, and then I'll be like, I need time to write this book. And so that will punt some of the essays off of the calendar. But, obviously I'm waiting until that happens. There has to be a reason for me, because right now it is what keeps my writing practice going, the newsletter. But it is time to look at it holistically and be like, okay, that was a lot of work for free. I really would love to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm at 8,700. Obviously, I lost 30 this week. You assholes. But trying to figure out how to close that gap on a platform that has a lot of bloat, where I'm a small fish is an uphill battle. But I'm trying to think creatively toward the end of the year, like, where could I get on any like lists of newsletters you should subscribe to, or like a gift list or something like that. But it's very hard right now to think that creatively, because that kind of idea requires a lot of outreach. And I'm not an expert in that. I'm not a PR girl. I'm not a marketing girl. I'm a content girl. Okay, I'm a brand girl. I don't do the outreach.
I can understand that. I don't think you need to wait until some momentous event, because then if you get to, querying is going to be successful for you. I know it is, but maybe it's worthwhile to consider. I don't want to give you advice. about this because I know nothing about Substack. I think if you want to get to your 10,000 subscribers, continuing at the pace you're going is probably the right thing to do because you want to be able to say that in your query letter that you have 10,000 subscribers, right? Fair enough. But I do wonder if the cadence, because your paid newsletter is once a week, but maybe the free one can be every other week.
Yeah.
You are giving a lot away for free. I think that it's a
I thought about it.
very fair thing to consider. Your time is expensive, very expensive, I would say, actually. You probably are undercharging even the people who are paying you on your hourly rate, you know? And it is finite. So it's a worthwhile thing to think about.
One of my higher paying clients asked me if I had any other writers that might be able to work on that broader project. And I don't know a lot of writers in business and tech, so I had to kind of like reach out to my network and see who knew who. And I was referred to this one writer, and just looking at his portfolio and his LinkedIn, I was like, he's going to ask for more money than I asked for. I could just see it looking at him. I just knew. I was like, he's going to ask for more money. He's going to get it. He's going to get it. And I was just like, oh boy. I mean, I have started to turn down clients because I'm like, you can't pay me what I get paid. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if I can successfully sell this book, how much it could sell for. I think I'm in for a rude awakening for how much time I'm gonna have to put on it, but these things are a labor of love.
They are. And we do them because they fulfill us, not because we are chasing some hypothetical paycheck at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's the mark that we leave behind on the world that we're chasing after more than anything. Or at least
the mark today has been pretty depressing, in general.
I know. Well, let's talk about like what we have to look forward to, because I do think that there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon for both of us. I'm inching closer to finishing the second book, which, to be fair to myself and to be honest with the listeners, this is a book that I stopped writing because I did not successfully query the first one. And so I was like, I want to go work on this other book right now. It was the thing that was calling to me. And so I put it down and I picked up something else. And now I'm returning to it. And it's been hard because it's something that I, for better or worse, for lack of better words, I abandoned it. So,
yeah.
But I think, you know, I hope that we both have really exciting news in the first quarter of next year. And I think that we will. And we're sowing the seeds of that now. And yeah, I think, you know, I will say one thing that I am super proud of both of us for is the fact that as I was going through our YouTube, we have a YouTube, if you didn't know. If you want to watch these conversations, you can watch them on YouTube. We have had, I mean, I think this is like almost our 26th episode of this podcast.
Ooh.
A lot of work that we put even into this, you know? And we do this for the love of it more than we're not getting, like I said, we are not getting paid. We have no advertisers. We're doing it because we like to talk to each other and encourage each other. And because we do on occasion get a very nice note from our listeners telling us how much they appreciate listening to us kvetch about how hard it is to get this work done. But I do think that like right now we might be in the doldrums, but there is, that is part of the process. There's always a slump. There's always a valley in between the mountains. Insert metaphor here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's true. I today in life feel down, but I do not feel down about my writing. I just feel tired, and that's, you know, that will happen when you're not sleeping. But I try to embrace my lack of sleep like a drunk high. I try to think of it as like that giddiness in the morning of when you've stayed up all night studying, and kind of use that frenetic, loose energy in my writing as like a, you know, write drunk, edit sober kind of vibe. Because it's like it does change my brain chemistry a little, and I like to take advantage of that, even though it doesn't feel like it did when I was 20.
I will say that even though I'm tired and feeling a little bit burnt out, I've also never felt more mental clarity, stronger, more capable than I have in my life. I think that there is something about that graph of people being their
Yep.
most productive in their mid 40s. It's true. I do feel more self assured. There's a bit of confidence that I feel when I sit down, even though right now I am feeling my way around in the dark. I know that I'm going to find the exit. I know that. I'm very confident in that
Mhm.
feeling. So all's that to say, we might sound like downers right now, but I know we're going to get out of it. I'm not in any way, shape, or form feeling fatalistic about our efforts. I know both you and I are going to come out on the other side of it holding hands. Yeah. On the other side, successful. So, and it is.
And when all our new fans read our books, they'll have like 45 podcast episodes to listen to.
It's true.
They'll be like, I'm going to start from the beginning.
Right. And it does happen. I see the numbers on our episodes, and people do start at the beginning, which is nice. Follow along.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that so much. All right. Well, we got to talk about our goals for the week ahead.
Let's talk about goals. I would like to keep writing. It would be great. I honestly feel like I have maybe 4 to 6 chapters until the end of this book. I'm close.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You're close.
I'm close, but it's the big thing. It's the battle. It's the
are.
storming of whatever, you know? And so I need to get it together. That is my goal. It's a lofty one, but I want to write to the end of this book, at least to the end of the conflict. The resolution shit is going to take some time. Frodo's going to go back to the Shire, and it's going to, all of that happy horse shit. But I do want to like get to the climax of the action and figure out these like big toothy problems that I have in the book. Oh, that's me. That's the only thing I have
big.
on my docket. That's the only thing I'm struggling with. So that's what I'm going to try and do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's ambitious to finish that in a week, but knowing you'll be working on it in a week is, I think that is worthwhile. I can't ever remember how much I have revealed about my memoir or not on this podcast. So I will just say that it is separated into 5 sections. And what I want to do this week is start thinking about which anecdotes from my writing and from my life fit into those individual sections. And just because what I really need most work on in the proposal is the chapter's outline. And so I need to be thinking about where do the stories I want to tell fit within the framework of 5 for the book. So I do have a note in my phone going that has those 5 sections that I've started to put just like things that pop into my mind where I'm like, oh, having the radios on for the avalanches, the front of the house flooding like a waterfall when it rains, like, like these like little things that I'm like, where do they fit in? What is the emotional feeling behind them? So that when I really do sit down to work on the proposal itself, I have something to refer to. And I'm not just like, I don't know what the chapters are. So that's going for this week. And then I am tying up the end of the class. So that I do have a little bit of work I have to do for that. I need to capture testimonials, and I'm just like getting ducks in a row to do that. But it's still kind of quiet over here. Obviously, I have to write the newsletter, but maybe I'll do some thinking on like what is like a splash effort to get to that 10,000 mark. That'll be tough.
Can I just say, our number 1 listener, my mother.
Yes.
I asked her, I was like, what'd you think of the last episode? And she, when I gave Kelton feedback on her memoir, and she's like, Krisserin, I think you were a little harsh. She was very concerned. No. But I'm so glad that you have someone to work with that could give you very concrete things to improve your proposal. And the part that she said that I know this all ties back to promoting Shangri-La's, but that the marketing had to be amplified so much. Yeah. It feels almost like you have to think about the marketing first and then everything else will follow. But it is the icky part. It is the part that doesn't feel like it's in service of the actual writing, but it is the whole reason that people will buy your book.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do feel like I like doing the marketing and the proposal. I like thinking about how and why the book ends up in people's hands. But for some reason, translating that to the newsletter feels really different and really challenging. And maybe that's because the proposal's in its nascence and it's like all of these ideas are swirling together. And where the newsletter, it's like, I've been writing it for many years. I've written many incredible essays. I've been published in big places, and it's like nothing. Nothing.
I know.
So, but that said, 9,000 is a good number. It's just not as good as 10,000. So I'm gonna keep chugging away.
I think we could reverse engineer how you get there. I think
Yeah.
I'll help you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'll put my marketing
Okay.
hat on for good.
Sarah and I are gonna start running paid ads.
Hey,
Listen, if you told me how, I would do it.
every time I post a TikTok, it's like for $20, you could get 20,000 views on this TikTok.
I know
then
TikTok is such.
My thumb is like
Such a
hovering over the
no.
button. I'm like, do I want to do it?
They're like, you're so close to jackpot. Just play one more time.
Oh, God. Anyhow, okay, so I'm going to try and figure out the big climax of my novel, and you are going to do everything.
Oh, hold on. Writing that down. Krisserin, big climax. Kelton, everything. Cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, you know where to find us. You can send us an email at officialpenpalspod@gmail.com.
And you should.
Yeah,
You
email
should
us.
send us an email.
We love it.
Obviously, we're lonely.
You guys should reach out. We love to hear from you. Send us an email. Follow us at penpalspod on all the social networks. If you love us and want to support the podcast, please leave a review. 5 stars only. I know Kelton likes to be like, whatever, 1 star is fine. No, please.
Listen, I think like a 4-star in the bunch makes it feel realistic.
Okay. All right. Fair.
No 1 stars. Nobody should be listening to this and giving 1 star.
Keep listening.
But
Take
if
it.
you want to celebrate my 40th birthday in advance, 5 stars will do.
And yeah, we're so happy you're here and listening to us. Yeah. Sorry for this very depressing episode, but we'll see you next week. All right. Happy writing.
Happy writing.